Hey everybody, this is Sam from Wrestling Overtime, and I wanted to give you guys news and updates for May 24th, 2020. WWE Network is releasing a special called Sting, The Lost Tape, and it's supposed to be a documentary from 1995, 25 years ago. It follows Sting backstage at Slamboree, showing all of his preparations, talking to him, and doing all kinds of interviews. And he is doing a match with Big Bubba Rogers. Now, I have loved the Undertaker's documentary on the WWE Network, so I absolutely cannot wait for this. I followed Sting before I stopped watching wrestling, and I actually want to go back in time. I want to see what all was going on at that time and how he was thinking about this match. So I am really looking forward to this. On this week's Talk is Jericho, Lance Archer talked about how Vince McMahon and Johnny Ace, which is John Laurinaitis, came up to him minutes before going on the air, and he was told to cut his hair, shave his face, and change his entire gimmick that he had been using for about 6 to 8 months in FCW, and how that made him feel. He wasn't sure who he was anymore, because here he had created this one gimmick and had lived it basically down there, gets called up to the main roster, and minutes before going on TV is told to change everything. But, that's how things are done in the WWE. Even years ago, it was how things are done. And it's one of the reasons that left a bad taste in his mouth that made him want to leave. So I think this is a very interesting interview on Talk is Jericho, and you really get to know Lance Archer, not the Murder Hawk monster, but actually Lance Archer. Next up in news and updates, man, oh man, I feel sorry for him, but Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler, you guys know I'm formerly in the WWE as The Revival, has been issued another cease and desist order by the WWE this time. They were issued one not too long ago, a couple days ago, maybe a week, from the independent tag team, The Revolt, and they were told to quit using the name The Revolt. So here they've got another cease and desist letter from the WWE. Bodyslam.net said that the two had shirts made up and were being sold on Pro Wrestling Tees that mocked them being clowns in the WWE circus with FTR on them. Those shirts have since been pulled, and it's unknown what actually is going to happen. Is this just going to be dropped, or are they going to go to court over this, or exactly what is going to happen? But I feel for Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler, because it seems like they caught a break getting released by the WWE and being able to do whatever they want, but every turn they're getting somebody filing some kind of paperwork on them, and to me, it's ridiculous. But anyway, after this weekend's Double or Nothing pay-per-view, they had a media scrum, just like always. AEW always has media scrums where they talk about the pay-per-view. Tony Khan, Jon Moxley, and Cody were the ones in the media scrum. And at the media scrum, Tony Khan confirmed that Jon Moxley would defend the AEW World Championship against Brian Cage at Fyter Fest 2020. Now, this is actually an event that Tony said was supposed to be in London, but because of all the travel bans that have been instituted, they can't do it in London. So as of right now, where exactly they're going to do it is up in the air. But at Fyter Fest, Jon Moxley will be taking on Brian Cage. So we should be seeing basically the start of that program, hopefully this week, if not next week. Dr. Britt Baker will miss approximately 6 to 8 weeks, according to Tony Khan, in the same media scrum that I just talked about. He also said that Rey Fenix is walking around with a limp and isn't expected to miss a major amount of time. Now, rumors on some of the different internet sites have said that Dr. Britt Baker actually possibly tore her ACL, which would make her out just a little bit longer. However, I've also heard that she hasn't gotten a for sure answer on whether she's going to have surgery or not. Dr. Britt Baker says herself not to be listening to anybody and that she will give her own update this Wednesday on Dynamite. Alex Hammerstone revealed that on May 23rd that he signed a new deal to remain at MLW. And a lot of fans, after he made that announcement, started questioning, why didn't you go here? Why didn't you go there? Did you even talk to this person and that person? And he wrote them back and said, being given more than 5 minutes for a match, not being told how to talk or dress, and competing with some of the best wrestlers in the world was very important to him. He wanted to create a legacy that it wasn't about money, and that MLW has given him that platform, and he wanted to stay there. In other news, the Boston Globe reported that Boston Mayor Marty Walsh may be willing to reopen Fenway Park and TD Garden. Now, he said this mostly about baseball. He is wanting the Boston Red Sox to play in Fenway, obviously. And he said no fans would be allowed inside to watch the games. It would only be the participants, coaching staffs, officials, support staff, things like that. However, that does open it up. SummerSlam was supposed to be in Boston. And we have heard that WWE is looking for a new place to have SummerSlam. The issue is the Boston mayor has said no fans. And we all know that Vince McMahon is looking for a place that's going to allow him to have at least some fans. He understands, I think, that the fans will have to be socially distanced, that they will have to be seated apart, that there will be space in between them, whether that be rows or seats and both. I'm sure that Vince does not like that, but I'm pretty sure that he understands that but he's still looking for a place where he can at least have some fans. And then our last news of the episode is on Migs versus the World of Pro Wrestling podcast. They interviewed Matt Hardy. They asked him who he was a fan of at AEW, who he thought had a lot of promise and that he liked to watch. And he said he is a big fan of Darby Allin. He said, quote, he is an amazing, fearless performer, but he also has a very special it factor to him, unquote. And then he also named Sammy Guevara and MJF. Now, if that doesn't convince you guys, I don't know what will. Who have I been telling you guys since January that you need to be watching? Who is the next generation of wrestlers? Who you better get on board with and pick who you like, but Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and MJF. They are the next generation of wrestlers. And if you don't want to believe me, then you need to believe Matt Hardy. Because everybody can see superstars wrote all over them. If you guys hear of any news or any tips or anything that you guys think that I need to be reporting, then hit me up on Twitter and our Facebook page, Wrestling Overtime. Or you guys need to write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com so that I know what's going on and can tell everybody else about it. Don't forget to subscribe to Wrestling Overtime in your favorite podcatcher, and I will be talking to you guys real soon, but I'm going to go back to working overtime to give you what you want. See you soon.